the moment the Council realized humanity's true power behind their calm. Sci-fi Reddit, the Galactic Council chamber, floated in silent orbit above Orlia Prime. The station was older than many of the species inside it. Its metal walls carried the weight of centuries. The curved ceiling shimmered with projected stars, each light marking a member world of the Council. In the center of the chamber stood a circular platform made of clear crystal. That was where new species came to speak. Most of the time, those species came with fear in their eyes or pride in their voices. Today, humanity arrived with neither. Ambassador Daniel Brooks stood on the platform with his hands folded behind his back. He was not tall compared to some of the towering alien delegates. He did not wear heavy armor or shining metals. He wore a simple dark uniform with a small silver emblem of Earth on his chest. His brown hair was neatly combed. His expression was calm. Behind him, at a respectful distance, stood Dr. Olivia Grant and Admiral Ethan Cole. Olivia carried a slim data tablet. Ethan stood straight, his posture firm but relaxed. Both watched the chamber carefully. Around them sat dozens of alien delegates in rising tiers. Some were tall and thin with smooth blue skin. Others had thick scales and glowing eyes. A few floated inside transparent spheres filled with strange gas. Mechanical translators hummed softly so every word could be understood. High Speaker Vierx of the Thalran watched from the highest seat. His scaled face showed little emotion, but his golden eyes were sharp. He had seen many species come before the Council. Most tried to impress. Some tried to threaten. A few begged for protection. He had studied the human records. The files were confusing. Humans had once fought many wars among themselves. They had nearly destroyed their own planet more than once. They had split into nations, argued over borders, and raced to build powerful weapons. And yet, in recent centuries, they had united. Slowly, carefully. They had formed a single planetary alliance and reached for the stars. Vierx expected a species with such a history to carry either shame or pride. Daniel Brooks carried neither. The chamber lights dimmed slightly. A soft tone echoed. Species designation, humanity of planet Earth, the central system announced. Daniel stepped forward. Honored members of the Council, he began. His voice was steady and clear. On behalf of Earth and her people, we thank you for allowing us to speak. The translator repeated his words in dozens of tones and frequencies. Several delegates leaned forward. Others scanned him with hidden sensors. Daniel continued. Humanity has traveled a long path. We began as scattered tribes on a single world. We faced hunger, disease, and conflict. We made mistakes, many mistakes, but we learned from them. Olivia watched the Council's reaction on her tablet. Heart rates, chemical changes, neural spikes. Curiosity was high, hostility was low. That is unusual, she thought. Daniel spoke about Earth's oceans and forests. He spoke about art, science, and cooperation. He did not speak about weapons. He did not speak about fleets. After several minutes, a delegate from the Zir Collective clicked its mandibles. The sound echoed sharply. Human ambassador, the Zir voice translated, your records show repeated large-scale wars. Why should the Council trust a species with such a violent past? Murmurs moved through the chamber. Daniel nodded once. That is a fair question. He did not rush his answer. Yes, humanity fought many wars. We feared each other. We competed for resources. But those wars taught us something important. They taught us the cost of hate. They showed us how close we could come to losing everything. Admiral Ethan Cole noticed several military representatives scanning his uniform for rank symbols. He kept his face neutral. Daniel continued. We chose a different path. It was not easy. It took generations. But we learned that survival depends on cooperation. We stand before you not as conquerors but as partners. A tall, silver-skinned delegate from the Liari Union tilted her head. Your fleet, she said softly. It remains outside long-range scan distance. Why? Ethan stepped forward slightly, but Daniel raised a hand gently. He would answer. "Our fleet respects your space," Daniel said. "We were instructed to limit our approach, so we did." The Liari delegate narrowed her bright eyes. "Most new applicants arrive with visible strength." Daniel gave a small smile. "We believed respect would speak louder." Several delegates exchanged glances. In orbit beyond the station, 3 human ships waited quietly. They were not large compared to the massive cruisers docked near Orlia Prime. Their hulls were smooth and unmarked except for small identification codes. They emitted only basic power signatures. Council long-range scans showed nothing unusual. Inside the lead vessel, Captain Ryan Carter sat in the command chair. His ship was named the Horizon. Officially, it was listed as a deep space research vessel. Ryan watched the station on the main screen. "Status?" he asked calmly. "All systems normal," said Engineer Mia Torres from her console. "Passive scans active. No targeting locks detected." Tactical Officer Noah Bennett leaned back in his chair. "They're watching us," he said. "Hard," Ryan nodded. "Let them." Back in the chamber, High Speaker Vierks leaned forward. "Ambassador Brooks," Vierks said, his voice low and steady, "the Council values transparency. If humanity seeks membership, it must declare its defensive capabilities." There it was, the real question. Several military delegates focused their attention fully on Daniel. Daniel did not hesitate. "Humanity maintains defensive systems designed to protect our worlds and trade routes." Vierks's eyes narrowed slightly. "Specifics." Admiral Ethan stepped forward this time. His voice was firm but calm. "Our primary doctrine is deterrence," Ethan said. "We design systems that prevent conflict rather than encourage it." "That is not a specification," replied a harsh mechanical voice from a cybernetic delegate. Ethan met the glowing red optics without flinching. "Our fleet includes patrol vessels, carriers, and support ships. We focus on rapid response and civilian protection." The Zir delegate clicked again. "How many warships?" Ethan paused for half a second. "Enough," he answered. A ripple of quiet amusement moved through several tiers of the chamber. The humans did not react. Olivia felt her pulse quicken slightly, but she kept her expression neutral. The council was used to numbers. They liked to measure power in ship counts and weapon yields. Humanity rarely shared exact numbers with outsiders. Daniel stepped back into the center. "Honored delegates," he said, "we understand your concern. You have seen powerful empires rise and fall. You fear instability, so do we." He let that settle. "Humanity does not seek to expand through force. We seek trade, knowledge exchange, mutual defense agreements. We believe security is strongest when shared." The Liari delegate studied him closely. "You speak of shared security, yet you do not display your strength." Daniel's eyes remained steady. "Strength is not always loud." The chamber fell quiet for a moment. High Speaker Vierk signaled a short recess. Lights shifted. Delegates began quiet side conversations. Daniel stepped back toward Olivia and Ethan. Olivia whispered, "They are confused." "That's good," Ethan replied softly. Daniel watched the alien group speaking in low tones. "They expected something else." "Yes," Ethan said. "They expected us to show teeth." Daniel's small smile returned. "We learned long ago that showing teeth invites others to sharpen theirs." Across the chamber, the Zir Collective transmitted encrypted signals to its fleet outside the system. The message was simple: continue deep scan attempts. Moments later, Zir long-range sensors pushed toward the human ships. On the horizon, Mia's console flickered. "Captain," she said calmly, "external scan pressure increasing. Source matches Zir signatures." Ryan did not tense. "Countermeasures passive only," he said. "Do not escalate," Mia nodded. "Activating adaptive masking." The human ships did not power up weapons. They did not change formation, but their sensor profile shifted subtly. What the Zir detected remained simple research vessels with standard shielding. Inside the Zir command vessel, confusion spread through the Hive network. Energy readings suggested unused capacity far beyond the visible systems, but no weapon arrays powered on, no targeting grids formed. The data did not make sense. Back in the chamber, recess ended. High Speaker Vierks addressed the assembly again. The Council will review humanity's petition. A final decision will follow further evaluation. Daniel inclined his head. We understand. Before the session could close, a sudden alert pulsed across the chamber displays. A red symbol flashed over a distant star system at the edge of Council territory. Murmurs rose instantly. Olivia glanced at her tablet. Distress signal, she whispered. Outer colony, non-member species under Council protection. Vierks's eyes sharpened. Report. An aide transmitted the data. Unidentified hostile vessels attacking civilian infrastructure. Defensive forces overwhelmed. Several military delegates began arguing at once. Deploy a task force. Too far. Risk assessment required. Authorization procedures. The chamber filled with layered voices. Daniel watched quietly. On the horizon, Ryan received the same open distress signal. He looked at the coordinates. They were closer to his position than to any major Council fleet. Noah turned in his chair. That's within rapid jump range. Mia glanced back. Orders. Ryan's jaw tightened slightly. He knew Council law required authorization for armed intervention within protected space. He also saw the live feed of burning colony structures. Back in the chamber, the debate grew louder. High Speaker Vierks raised his voice. Silence. The chamber quieted. We will assemble a response fleet, Vierks said. Estimated departure in 6 cycles. Olivia's eyes widened slightly. 6 cycles, she murmured to Daniel. They won't last that long. Daniel said nothing. He simply watched the red symbol blinking over the distant colony. And in orbit, aboard a quiet research vessel that looked harmless to every scan, Captain Ryan Carter made a decision that would soon change how the entire Council viewed humanity. Captain Ryan Carter did not raise his voice when he gave the order. Set course for the distress signal, he said calmly. The bridge of the horizon stayed quiet for half a second. Then everyone moved at once. Yes, Captain, Mia Torres replied. Her fingers moved across her console. Jump solution plotted. We can arrive in less than 20 minutes. Noah Bennett turned in his chair. Council law says we need authorization. Ryan nodded. I know. The burning colony filled the main screen. Explosions flashed across its surface. Small defense platforms broke apart under heavy fire. The attackers were large, dark ships with sharp angles and heavy weapon mounts. They moved in tight formation and fired without pause. We are the closest ship, Ryan said. Those are civilians. Noah studied the sensor feed. At least 9 hostile cruisers. Energy output high. Their weapons are not standard Council design. Ryan stood from his chair and walked closer to the screen. He watched as a transport shuttle tried to flee the colony's orbit. A beam of red light cut through it. The shuttle vanished in a silent flash. He did not show anger. He did not show fear. Prepare Aegis protocol, he said. Mia looked up for a moment. Full activation. Limited engagement, Ryan answered. We stop them. We do not destroy unless necessary. Noah gave a short nod. Understood. The Horizon's engines glowed softly as space folded around the ship. The vessel slipped into faster than light travel without dramatic flashes. It moved like a shadow across the stars. Back at Orlia Prime, the Council chamber remained tense. Delegates argued over fleet composition and political risk. High Speaker Vierks listened to reports from military advisors. Nearest Council fleet is 4 cycles away at maximum speed, an aide said. Vierks's eyes narrowed. Too slow. Another alert appeared on the central display. Human vessel Horizon departing assigned orbit. Murmurs filled the chamber again. The Zir delegate made a sharp clicking sound. They move without permission. Olivia Grant saw the alert on her tablet. Her heart beat faster, but her face stayed calm. Daniel Brooks did not seem surprised. Vierks turned his gaze toward the human delegation. "Ambassador Brooks," he said slowly, "your vessel has altered course." Daniel met his eyes. "Yes. For what reason?" Daniel did not look away. To answer the distress call, several delegates spoke at once. "They are not authorized. This is reckless. If they fail, it reflects on the Council." Vierks raised a clawed hand for silence. "Ambassador, you understand that military intervention in protected space requires approval." Daniel nodded once. "I do. Yet your ship proceeds." "Yes." The chamber grew very still. "Why?" Vierks asked. Daniel's answer was simple. "Because waiting 6 cycles means thousands will die." No one spoke for a long moment. Vierks studied him carefully. "If your vessel engages without sanction, it acts alone." Daniel accepted this with a small incline of his head. "Understood." In deep space, the horizon dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the colony system. The scene was worse than expected. Large sections of the colony's orbital ring were gone. Fires burned across the surface. Escape pods drifted through debris fields. The hostile fleet maintained tight formation above the main population center. "Scan complete," Mia said quietly. 9 cruisers, 2 carrier-class ships, fighter wings active, civilian casualties rising fast. Ryan took a slow breath. "Open wide channel. Broadcast on all standard frequencies." Noah pressed a control. "Channel open." Ryan spoke clearly. "Unidentified vessels, this is human ship Horizon. Cease fire immediately. You are attacking protected civilians. Withdraw and prepare to stand down." For a few seconds there was no reply. Then one of the hostile cruisers rotated slightly, a heavy beam weapon charged. "They're targeting us," Noah said. Ryan did not sit down. "Mia." "Aegis network initializing," she replied. "Local nodes responding." Far beyond the view of any normal sensor, small objects hidden in deep orbit activated. They had drifted in the system for months, silent and cold. They looked like harmless debris. They were not. The first hostile beam fired. A bright red line crossed the void toward the horizon. Before it could strike, space in front of the human ship shimmered. The beam bent sharply, curving away as if pulled by invisible gravity. It missed by thousands of kilometers. Noah stared at his display. "Gravitational lensing active." Ryan kept his voice steady. "Target hostile weapon arrays, non-lethal disable if possible." Mia's fingers moved quickly, synchronizing with orbital nodes, focusing pulse. A ripple moved through space around the hostile fleet. It was not bright. It was not loud. It was like a silent wave passing through water. On the nearest cruiser, weapon systems flickered. Lights dimmed, targeting locks vanished. "What just happened?" Noah asked quietly. "Localized electromagnetic burst," Mia answered. "Precision tuned." It hit their fire control systems. The hostile ships broke formation slightly. Fighters launched in large numbers. "Fighter swarm incoming," Noah said. 30, maybe more. Ryan watched them approach. "Do not shoot unless they fire again." The fighters opened with rapid pulse cannons. Again, space shifted. Several fighters veered suddenly off course as small gravity wells formed in front of them. 2 collided with each other. Others spun out of control as navigation systems failed. The Horizon did not fire a single visible projectile. Inside the hostile flagship, alarms screamed. Their sensors showed impossible readings. Gravitational distortions formed and vanished in precise patterns. Energy pulses struck only weapon systems, leaving life support untouched. "Captain," Noah said, "their carrier is charging heavy cannons." Ryan nodded. "Increase field intensity around civilian zones." Mia adjusted the network. The hidden nodes shifted position using tiny bursts of thrust. A protective field spread over the colony's surface. When the carrier fired, its beam struck the field and scattered into harmless radiation. The attackers tried missiles next. Dozens of warheads launched toward the colony. Ryan gave a single order: collapse vector grid. In deep orbit, 3 hidden satellites aligned perfectly. A focused gravity surge formed directly in the path of the missiles. Space compressed for a fraction of a second. Every missile vanished into a micro-singularity no larger than a coin. Silence followed. Noah exhaled slowly. They're retreating from low orbit. The hostile cruisers began to pull back, trying to regroup farther from the colony. Ryan shook his head slightly. Do not let them escape. Interception? Noah asked. Containment. Mia understood immediately. She adjusted the network pattern. Around the hostile fleet, space tightened. Not violently, not destructively. It was as if invisible walls formed around them. Their engines flared brighter, but their ships barely moved. They're trapped, Noah whispered. Ryan opened a channel again. Unidentified fleet, your vessels are immobilized. Further aggression will result in total system shutdown. Power down weapons and prepare for boarding assistance. Medical aid will be provided. There was no answer for several seconds. Then one cruiser tried to fire again. Ryan did not change his tone. Full disable. This time, the pulse was stronger. Across all 11 hostile ships, power grids overloaded in perfect sequence. Engines shut down. Weapons went dark. Shields collapsed. Emergency lights flickered on inside their hulls. None of the ships exploded. None broke apart. They simply stopped. In the council chamber on Orlia Prime, live feeds from the battle played across massive screens. Every delegate watched in stunned silence. The Zir representative scanning equipment glowed bright as it tried to understand the energy readings. This output, it clicked slowly, exceeds projection models. High-speaker Vierks leaned forward, unblinking. On screen, the single human ship floated calmly before an entire disabled fleet. Daniel Brooks stood with his hands folded behind his back, just as he had earlier. One delegate finally spoke in a quiet voice. That is a science vessel. Olivia allowed herself one small breath of relief. Back in the colony system, escape pods drifted safely now. Fires on the surface began to die down as local systems recovered. Ryan turned to Noah. Begin rescue operations. Send medical teams to the colony. Yes, Captain, Mia monitored the trapped fleet. Their reactors are stable, crews alive. They cannot restart without external repair. Good, Ryan said. We are not executioners. He looked once more at the frozen enemy ships. The horizon had fired no visible weapons. It had destroyed nothing. And yet, it had ended the battle in minutes. Far away, in the silent chamber above Orlia Prime, the members of the Galactic Council began to understand that humanity's calm was not weakness. It was control. And control, when backed by power like this, was something entirely new. The news spread across council space faster than any official message. A single human research vessel had stopped an entire hostile fleet. It had done so without destroying a single ship. On Orlia Prime, the council chamber filled again within hours. Delegates who had left returned in haste. Military leaders demanded full data. Scientists requested raw sensor logs. Political leaders asked the same quiet question: how? High-speaker Vierks called the emergency session to order. The massive chamber was brighter than before. Every display showed frozen images from the battle. The horizon floated in the center of the screen, small and plain compared to the large cruisers around it. But the cruisers were dark and silent. The horizon was not. Begin analysis report, Vierks ordered. A Liari science delegate stood. Energy readings confirm large-scale gravitational manipulation. The human vessel deployed localized distortions with extreme precision. Murmurs moved through the chamber. Another delegate from a machine-based species projected numbers into the air. Power output required exceeds what is visible in the human ship structure. Hidden systems are confirmed. The Zir representative clicked sharply. This is deception. They presented themselves as minor power. Daniel Brooks stood calmly at the center platform again. Olivia Grant and Admiral Ethan Cole stood behind him, just as before. Daniel did not interrupt. Vierks turned his golden gaze toward the human ambassador. Ambassador Brooks, the council requests clarification. Daniel inclined his head. Of course. You declared your fleet as defensive in nature, Vierks continued. Yet your vessel demonstrated power greater than several major member species combined. Daniel's voice remained steady. Yes. The chamber grew quiet again. Ethan stepped forward slightly but waited. Vierks's tone sharpened. Why was this capability not fully disclosed? Daniel did not rush his answer. Because capability and intention are not the same. The Zier delegate's voice rose. Power hidden is power prepared for surprise attack. Olivia finally stepped forward. Her voice was calm and clear. Or power prepared to stop one. Many eyes turned toward her. She activated her tablet and projected data into the air. The image showed dozens of small satellites drifting quietly across several trade routes near human space. These are part of what we call the Aegis network, Olivia said. It is a distributed defensive system. It monitors high-risk areas and can respond rapidly to threats. A delegate interrupted. You place these devices in multiple systems without declaration. Olivia nodded once. In unclaimed border zones near human trade routes, we did not place them inside council core systems. The Liari scientist examined the data. The response time during the colony attack was near instant. Yes, Olivia replied. The horizon synchronized with existing nodes. The network works together. It is designed to prevent loss of life. The Zier clicked again. It is designed to control space itself. Admiral Ethan stepped forward now. His expression remained firm but not hostile. We learned from our past, he said. When humanity first reached space, we carried our old habits with us. Competition, fear, arms races. He looked around the chamber slowly. We came close to destroying ourselves more than once on our own planet. We built weapons that could end cities in seconds. We lived under constant threat. Some delegates watched with careful interest. Others remained suspicious. Ethan continued. Eventually, we understood something simple. The more weapons we showed, the more our rivals built. The louder we acted, the louder they responded. He paused. So we changed. Vierks leaned forward slightly. Changed how? Daniel answered this time. We shifted focus from destruction to control. Instead of asking how to destroy an enemy fleet, we asked how to stop it without war. A low murmur passed through the chamber. Olivia brought up battle footage. The moment where missiles vanished into a micro-singularity replayed slowly. This was not a weapon designed to kill, she explained. It was a containment response. The singularity was temporary and small. It removed the threat without collateral damage. A machine delegate projected calculations. Energy precision required is extreme. Margin of error near zero. Olivia gave a small nod. Yes, that is why we do not use it lightly. The Zier representative focused its sensors on Daniel. You expect the council to believe that such power will never be used offensively. Daniel did not blink. No, I expect you to believe we choose not to. The chamber fell very still at those words. Vierks studied the human carefully. Choice implies restraint. Restraint requires discipline. What ensures humanity will always choose restraint? Daniel's answer was simple. Memory. He let that word settle. We remember what it feels like to be weak, he continued. We remember standing under weapons we could not stop. We remember fear. Images of old Earth conflicts appeared on the display. War-torn cities, refugees, ruined landscapes. These are part of our history, Daniel said. We do not hide them. They taught us the cost of power without control. Ethan added quietly, we built the Aegis network so that if pirates, raiders, or unknown forces attacked, we could end the fight fast, not escalate it. A council military leader spoke up. You immobilized 11 ships in minutes. You could have destroyed them. Yes, Ethan said calmly, and you did not. No, the Liari delegate tilted her head. Why spare them? Olivia answered softly. Because dead enemies create more enemies. Captured enemies create information. Several delegates processed that. Vierk signaled for silence again. What of scale? He asked. Is the horizon unique? Daniel shook his head slightly. No. A ripple of tension moved through the chamber. How many vessels carry such systems? Vierk pressed. Daniel's voice did not change. Enough to ensure that attacks like this one fail. The Zir emitted a low vibration that suggested frustration. You refuse to quantify. Yes, Daniel replied. Why? Because numbers create fear. Fear creates escalation. Silence followed again. Outside the chamber, council analysts were already studying deeper scans of human space. They detected unusual energy signatures along trade corridors. Nothing aggressive, nothing openly hostile, but something organized. Back at the colony system, the Horizon continued rescue operations. Human medical teams worked beside local responders. Mia Torres coordinated power restoration with colony engineers. Noah Bennett supervised the secure towing of hostile ships into stable orbit. Captain Ryan Carter stood in the colony command center now. Smoke still hung lightly in the air. A local official looked at him with wide eyes. Why did you come so fast? Ryan's answer was simple. We were close. You could have destroyed them, the official said. Ryan nodded. Yes, but you did not. No, the official looked at the disabled fleet through a cracked viewport. They killed thousands. Ryan's face remained calm, but his eyes hardened slightly. We stopped them from killing more. Back on Orlia Prime, the emergency session continued. A young delegate from a minor species finally spoke in a quiet voice. If humanity has this level of control over gravity and energy, what prevents them from controlling council core systems? It was the question many feared to ask. All eyes turned again to Daniel Brooks. He did not hesitate. Trust, he said. The Zir gave a harsh click. Trust is fragile. Yes, Daniel agreed, which is why we did not lead with threats. Vierks leaned back slightly. You demonstrated overwhelming superiority in a single engagement. Daniel corrected gently. We demonstrated overwhelming restraint. That word echoed through the chamber. Restraint. Olivia stepped forward again and projected a final set of data. It showed projected casualty numbers if the hostile fleet had not been stopped quickly. Millions more dead within hours. We could have waited for authorization, she said softly. By the time a council fleet arrived, the colony would have been gone. No one argued with the numbers. Vierks looked around the chamber at his fellow delegates. Many no longer looked angry. They looked thoughtful. Finally, the High Speaker returned his gaze to Daniel. The council misjudged humanity, he said slowly. Daniel did not smile. Many have. Vierks continued, you present yourselves as calm, modest, limited. Daniel answered quietly, we present ourselves as we choose to act. The chamber fell silent once more. For the first time since humanity had entered the council hall, the silence was not filled with doubt. It was filled with realization. The power shown by the horizon was not loud. It was not dramatic. It did not burn worlds or shatter fleets. It simply removed threats with quiet precision, and that quiet precision was far more unsettling than open aggression. The council began to understand something important. Humanity had not arrived weak. Humanity had arrived controlled. And control, backed by such power, changed everything. The aftermath of the colony rescue settled slowly across the council. Reports flowed in from every corner of Orlia Prime, showing the calm efficiency of humanity's response. The horizon remained in orbit above the battered planet, its crew overseeing repairs, medical aid, and evacuation operations. No one on the human vessel spoke of glory or triumph. They only worked. Captain Ryan Carter walked along the bridge. watching engineers and medical teams coordinate with local officials. His hands rested lightly on the railing as he observed the colony's emergency systems being restored. Every motion was deliberate, careful, controlled. "Status report," he said quietly. Engineer Mia Torres turned from her console. "Life support is fully online. Power grid is stable. Hostile ships are still immobilized in orbit, no signs of reactivation. Evacuation shuttles are operational and ready." Tactical Officer Noah Bennett looked at the same data. "They could try to restart engines. If they do, we can contain them again." Ryan nodded once. "Then let's focus on the living. That is our priority." Below, the colony's people were emerging from hiding places. Families moved toward rescue shuttles, children holding hands with parents, their faces smeared with soot and fear. Every eye followed the humans working among them with a mixture of awe and disbelief. They had expected death. Instead, they had found calm, efficient help. In the council chamber, deliberations began. The images of the horizon and the trapped hostile fleet were projected on the central display. Delegates who had once spoken of aggression and hidden threat now looked thoughtful. Even the Zir representatives were quiet, their mandibles clicking softly in reflection rather than accusation. High Speaker Vierks leaned forward. "Ambassador Brooks," he said, "it is clear humanity has the ability to dominate if you chose. You chose restraint instead." Daniel Brooks stood as calmly as ever. "Yes, High Speaker, power alone is not enough. It must be guided by judgment and responsibility. We do not claim to be perfect. We claim only that we choose not to destroy when it is unnecessary." Olivia Grant stepped forward and added, "Our history taught us the value of control. We learned that showing power often creates fear. Fear breeds conflict. Our strength is quiet, disciplined, and always prepared, but only used to preserve life, never to harm it needlessly." Murmurs spread across the chamber. Delegates whispered to one another. Many had never heard a species speak so plainly yet carry such absolute capability. The Council had seen fleets larger than the horizon obliterate planets, yet here was a single human vessel that could stop multiple warships without firing a shot. High Speaker Vierks continued slowly, his voice measured. "Your restraint is remarkable. Humanity has shown a power far beyond what the Council anticipated, and yet you did not seek domination. You did not claim territory. You did not demand authority." Daniel inclined his head slightly. "We understand the temptation, High Speaker. We also understand the cost. Our choice is deliberate. Peace achieved through quiet preparation is far stronger than peace enforced by fear." The Liari delegate, who had observed closely, finally spoke. "You have redefined the measure of strength. The Council often equates visibility and volume with power. You have demonstrated that true power lies in control, not in spectacle." Several delegates nodded. Some still looked uneasy, but none could deny the truth in her words. Vierks motioned to the other council members. "It appears the initial assessment of humanity was flawed. We underestimated both your capability and your discipline." The Zir clicked thoughtfully. "We see now that the Horizon's actions were not reckless. They were precise, deliberate, and humane. There is wisdom in this restraint." Daniel responded quietly. "It is not wisdom alone. It is necessity. We learned over generations that indiscriminate power destroys more than it protects. Discipline ensures survival." The counselors fell silent as the weight of the revelation sank in. Humanity had arrived quietly, almost humbly. Their fleets appeared modest. Their vessels appeared unarmed. Yet their calm contained the potential to reshape entire systems in ways that no other species in the chamber could match. Outside the chamber, the news of the rescue spread quickly. Other species in nearby sectors began scanning for humans, curious, cautious, and increasingly respectful. Humanity's approach to power became a subject of discussion in diplomatic circles. Some spoke in awe, others spoke with quiet fear. Not because humans would attack, but because they could. Back at the horizon, the human crew continued their work. Captain Carter oversaw the evacuation of civilians, making sure every shuttle left safely. Mia Torres coordinated repairs and monitoring of the immobilized fleet. Noah Bennett ensured no ships could reactivate prematurely. Their work was methodical, careful, unhurried. "Captain," Noah said, "the disabled ship's crews are alive, yes. We can maintain containment indefinitely if we need." Ryan looked at the black shapes of the trapped vessels against the stars. "Yes, they are alive. We maintain control without harm. That is the key. Never destroy when you can protect." Mia glanced at him. "Do you think the Council understands now?" Ryan did not answer immediately. He watched a small rescue shuttle lift off the planet with families aboard. "They will," he said finally. "But understanding is different from acceptance. That will take time." Meanwhile, on Orlia Prime, Daniel Brooks continued addressing the Council. "Humanity is not here to dominate. We are here to participate. We do not seek to impose. We seek to share knowledge, technology, and cooperation. That is our mission and that is our strength." The chamber listened. Some were skeptical, some were impressed. Yet the undeniable fact was clear. Humans possessed control unlike any other species present. Their calm was not weakness. It was a measured, absolute force. Vierk stood slowly. "The Council will deliberate full membership for humanity. It is clear that your restraint, discipline, and capacity for rapid action provide immense value. We must reconsider how we judge power." Daniel inclined his head respectfully. "We accept the Council's deliberation." Hours passed as delegates debated quietly. Data streams projected human achievements, history, and philosophy. Analysts confirmed the effectiveness of the Aegis network. Military experts calculated potential for future containment operations. The horizon remained in orbit above the rescued colony, a symbol of calm, measured power. Finally, the chamber reconvened. Vierk's voice echoed across the vast hall. "After full review, the Council acknowledges humanity as a member species. Your conduct demonstrates a unique combination of capability and restraint. This is a model for peace, not threat." Daniel stepped forward, bowing his head slightly. "We are honored. We will serve the Council faithfully and with diligence. We do not seek privilege. We seek partnership." There was quiet agreement from the chamber. Even the most skeptical delegates no longer questioned the humans' intentions. Their actions had spoken louder than any words. The Liari delegate spoke once more. "We have studied other species for centuries. Few possess strength, fewer possess control. Humanity has both. That combination changes everything." The Zir representative clicked softly, almost in acknowledgement. "We have underestimated you. That will not happen again." Back at the horizon, Captain Carter watched as evacuation shuttles returned to the colony. The sky above the planet was calm now. Fires had died down. Power systems hummed steadily. The threat had passed without destruction, without permanent harm, and without chaos. Ryan finally turned to his officers. "This is what it means to have true power, not the ability to destroy, not the ability to dominate, the ability to protect, to control, to choose restraint. That is humanity's gift." Mia nodded slowly. "And that's the moment the Council will remember, isn't it?" Ryan smiled faintly. "Yes, calm is more powerful than they will admit. They just have to realize it themselves." In the Council chamber, the realization settled in slowly but permanently. Humanity's small, modest fleet, its calm diplomacy, its measured actions, these were not signs of weakness. They were signs of unmatched discipline and power. The delegates would remember this day for the rest of their lives. For the first time, a species entered the Council not with arrogance or display of force, but with quiet strength that could change the galaxy. Humanity had shown that the greatest power is not in firepower, but in restraint. And restraint, when wielded wisely, is far more terrifying than any weapon. The horizon lifted off from the colony's orbit. Civilian shuttles followed. The crew remained calm. They had acted decisively. They had saved thousands. They had shown the galaxy that humanity's strength was not in war, but in control, precision, and careful choice. As stars stretched before them in faster-than-light travel, Ryan Carter reflected quietly. Humanity had stepped into the wider galaxy. They had the power to destroy, yet they chose to protect. That was the real message. And the Council and the galaxy would never forget the moment they realized humanity's true power behind their calm. Humanity had arrived, not with noise, not with violence, not with demands, but with quiet strength, discipline, and the wisdom to know that true power lies in knowing when not to use it. This was only the beginning. The galaxy would never be the same.